You're watching Fighting Back, news talk, current events, and political commentary with host Ron Ludders. Now back to the show.
Well, welcome back. We're here with Walt, Blackman, Josh Bernstein, Ray Michaels, and yours truly, Ron Ludders. Lots going on. We've been talking essentially about what's going on in Afghanistan and how the current president of the United States, his total incompetence has just screwed up the world, not just America. And I'd like to see him, I'd like to see him resign, but he won't because his handlers won't allow that. There are impeachment papers being drawn up now to impeach him. I'm not sure that's going to work, and I understand, I've heard rumor, gentlemen, that Kamala Harris's people are asking the president's cabinet if they would like to invoke the 25th Amendment, meaning the guy is incompetent. There's one problem to all of this, gentlemen and audience. That means Kamala Harris becomes the president of the United States. This woman could not even get more than 2% of the total vote in the primary elections, and she would probably be as bad or worse than Biden. So we might want to see her leave, and that leaves us with another dilemma. And that means Nancy Pelosi would become the president of the United States. God.
No.
Hold on. This is my swan dance here.
Okay.
The swan song. Listen, folks, if you do not think that elections have consequences, you are wrong. For those of you that were Republicans and never Trumpers, shame on you. You got offended because you didn't think somebody was cool. They weren't saying the right thing. They said what they thought. They weren't saying it politely. Donald Trump was a leader, a great leader for America, and he put our country as number one, first and always first.
America first.
And that's what America ought to be. So I just wanted to say that. We got to get rid of this president. I called it the other night. I don't think he'll resign on his own. But I think there's a lot of pressure going to be coming and exerting itself to get rid of this man.
So let me ask you a question, Ron, and Josh as well, because I know that you both study the history. So if by chance he does resign or he's impeached or 25th Amendment, if that happens, we know that Kamala cannot fit into those shoes. No. So could they package that deal that both of them are gone? But I don't believe that the Speaker of the House becomes the permanent president of the United States. I think it would be an interim until somebody else fills that spot.
I think it's to the next election, which means she would serve until
till the next election?
She will serve out the term.
Oh, it doesn't have to be filled right away.
And I don't think it'll be a package deal because
the
Constitution doesn't say that. The Constitution says that the vice president will step in when the president is no longer able to serve.
Unless they're incompetent as
unless
well.
they're incompetent.
I don't know. Nobody's ever been removed because of the 25th Amendment. So nobody knows exactly what that means. I don't want this to be left to the courts, gentlemen. I am so sick and tired of everybody going to the courts. The Supreme Court really screwed up on this election business when they said, you don't have standing. Come on, everybody has standing when the election goes the way it did. At any rate, Walt, those of you that don't know, Walt is serving his, I think it was your second term
second term,
in the Arizona Legislature from
LD1.
Legislative District 6.
LD6.
And he's running for the United States Congress in Congressional District 1.
Yes.
So let's assume that you win.
I'm going to win.
Oh, right. He's going to win.
Yeah, I'm going to win.
I would like to ask you the one question. Everybody wants to be on some kind of committee. What kind of a committee would you like to be on?
The Armed Services Committee.
Why did I think you would not want to be on that?
Well, first of all,
election reform.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one too.
That's another one.
More so the Armed Services Committee because of a person who was deployed into combat several times under just incompetent leadership. When we're talking coming from the White House, coming from the executive, seeing this type of thing happen, we need checks and balances coming from that committee. It's important that we have the right people on that committee that can put a stop to this madness. Now, what commander in their right mind would leave civilians in withdrawal military first.
And leave his equipment behind.
Exactly. So my issue is right now, it's not just the guy that I'm running against who has done nothing in CD1. He hasn't even come out and spoken out against this, Tom O'Hallery.
No.
He hasn't spoken. He hasn't said a word because he's a guy who sits on the fence. He's waiting to see what happens. He doesn't have the courage. He doesn't have the backbone to stand up with leadership. That's what we need, not just in CD1. As you can see, we need this across the country. And you made a statement. We should have every Republican that runs for Congress and the Senate should win because of this right here. Mm-hmm. We are at a time where it's about life or death. It's about saving lives. We need people in Congress and in the Senate and in the Oval that's prepared to do this, like Donald Trump did. Like we have war fighters up there, Crenshaw, Representative Crenshaw, war fighters who understand what life really means. However, as you laid it out, and I don't want to steal your
No, you're good. You said
thunder.
Crenshaw, and I kind of cringed a little bit because of what he said recently about the fact that there was no fraud in Arizona
in
the election.
Yeah, but when we have a party,
I think he needs
but Lindsey Graham also said that.
Yeah.
When we have a party that does not cherish life in the womb, why would they care about American citizens being left in Afghanistan?
That's true.
We need the type of leadership that I provide. I provided in LD6 and in the state of Arizona and also CD1. I've been doing his darn job for the past 2 years because he hasn't been doing it. He's been absent, asleep at the wheel. We need that type of leadership that I can offer. We need people that put life first. This is a prime example of that. That's why I'm running. That's why I'm going to win. That's why I'm going to demand that we take care of our troops, our service members. And when I do get to Congress, if somebody has not pushed that impeachment paper, I am going to file that because he needs to be impeached. He is incompetent. He is not fit for command. He has left his post on duty, dereliction of duty, and people are dying today for that.
Seems to me that Dr. Corsi wrote a book called "Unfit for Command," and that was about another Democrat that was running for office.
He's unfit for command.
That was.
So Walt, how do we get in touch with you? What's the website? Because I know that there's a lot of people right now, and they're revved up, and they said, you know what, we need to support people here in our state to represent us in Congress, and they're looking at you and they're saying, I like what you say. How do they get in touch with you?
Well, it's easy. Just go to www.blackmanforcongress.com. It's real easy to remember. Blackman. It's a black guy running.
Now, did you set it up that way?
No, my parents named me Walt Blackman, so they had something to do with it. But no, really, www.
We didn't notice, did we?
No, we didn't notice. Yeah, you know, I thank my parents every day. I call them every day. Hey, thanks for the name.
Only the Democrats see color, by the way.
Oh yeah. So www.blackmanforcongress.com. Listen, folks, when you donate to my campaign, you're not just donating to somebody who is an establishment guy who doesn't understand life and death consequences. I fought in combat. I fought in Iraq. I fought in Afghanistan. I was responsible for life. I was responsible for young soldiers. I understand what this enemy can do to us because I faced this enemy one-on-one. I faced this enemy for 12 months in Afghanistan. That's the type of leadership that we need to go toe-to-toe, someone who has gone toe-to-toe with the Taliban, and someone who will go toe-to-toe with the establishment, someone who will go toe-to-toe with the incompetence of the Biden administration to put in the type of leaders that we need. This also includes our current Secretary of Defense, Austin, because this guy right here has let a lot of warfighters down based on what he said. We don't have the capabilities.
So tell us, because we have a big state here in CD1. Now, some people think, it's Maricopa County, man. They make all the decisions, but you're representing a very wide range of constituents.
Probably at least a third of the geographic state.
Yes. So CD1 is as big as Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. It goes all the way from the top of the northern part of the Navajo Nation,
Four Corners,
and
right,
all the way down to the border, and touches some places of Maricopa. Now, here's what we've been running into, and I'm just going to say this on the air. We are working very hard to raise monies and to get signatures. We're doing it. However, when we talk to people and we ask them for dollars, what they say is, you're not in our district. Here's the deal, folks. CD1 is the number one race in the country. The number one race. If we win CD1, the rest of the 4 seats will flip. Now, because of this tobacco, we're going to have more seats flipped, but CD1 is the key. So you could live in CD9, you could live in Massachusetts, you could live in Texas or Florida and donate to my campaign because it does affect you. Don't wait for the lines to get drawn. Right. Don't wait for redistricting. I'm the guy, I'm the leader. Reach out to my campaign, www.blackmanforcongress.com. Donate, get me into office, and I will continue to fight for you as I've been fighting for Americans for the past 21 years with my combat deployments.
Yeah, Josh, Ron, we're talking about public servants. So many times you get the politician in. I've been in for years and years, like a Biden, right? And I can do this, and they make all these promises, but they don't know it intimately, and they're not there to serve the public. Right. It is a public servant, a statesman that we're looking for. And you know what? Ignatius Warren once wrote in a book, he said, "My life is my message." Look at my life. That is my message. Look at your life of service to your country.
I'd like to take just a minute there. Walt's kind of he's so shy. But you've been a professional soldier. Thank you for your service.
Appreciate that.
And I do know that your father was an airman for many
26 years.
So your family has served for probably half a century, have served in our military to protect our freedoms. And thank you for your service and your dad's. The other thing that I want to tell you, I didn't know Walt in his first term. But I did study the Arizona legislature, as many of us do, because there's a lot of things that go through there. I was impressed with this man's ability to fight for the causes, especially the right to life, because I'm a big right to life guy. Yeah. And I remember him getting up and giving many speeches and seeing them on YouTube. And I thought, this is my man.
Well, here's the deal. As a combat veteran, the Biden administration, some of those folks that make this decision, have never had to look in the eyes of an 18-year-old or 19-year-old and send them into combat, knowing that their chances of making it out are going to be nil. They have not had to hold a soldier in their arms when that soldier has expired because that soldier was defending their country. That soldier took a round or was hit with an IED. They never had to do that. And there are a lot of politicians. I'm not saying everybody has to serve, because we serve in our own way. And I am grateful for the men and women in law enforcement. People just do the great things in our country. But when we have lawmakers that talk out of both sides of their mouth, like Tom O'Halloran, I'm going to say his name, and haven't been in the situations that we are seeing right now in our country, have not defended this country in that aspect, and had men and women die in their arms and just sit on the sidelines and not get involved, I actually challenged Tom O'Halloran to come out against the president, come out against Nancy Pelosi about his incompetence and his lack of leadership and his absence as a commander-in-chief. There is nothing. It's like crickets.
How about calling him out to do a debate with you?
He won't do that.
How about 3 debates, and I'll be the moderator?
Yeah, he won't. You know why he won't do that? Because Tom O'Halloran has been on the side of Nancy Pelosi to vote for bills like.
What's the matter, Tommy? You too afraid?
Yeah, like abortion.
And Hub Radio will cover it too.
Like abortion that kills up to 1,300 black children every single day. Now, I want to know, even if we just talked about that, how can he vote for a bill that exterminates the black American population? And that's what abortion does. That's late-term abortion. He voted for that. That's his.
And Walt, and they'll call us lily white Republicans racists.
No. Anytime
and we don't feel that way. We feel, hey, everyone has the right to life. Everyone.
Yeah. We just need sound leadership at all levels, from the Oval Office all the way down to school boards. We need Americans that will stand up for the principles and the values of what our country was made on. And these folks that are up there in D.C., a lot of them are not doing that because they're placing votes to keep their seats.
And Walt, one of the beautiful things about this, they use this every election against Republicans. You're a racist.
You're a racist.
You know why they use
it? You know why they say that?
Let me explain. Here's why Democrats call you a racist. They call you a racist because they know that you're going to say, I'm not a racist.
Yeah.
And if you say I'm not a racist, you can't prove it. It's an unprovable thing, which is why they use it. Because they know if they just use the race card, it doesn't matter what you say, you're being called a racist. Yeah. You can't defend it. And that's why they use it.
And that's a shame that they do.
It is a shame.
Because
they can't win the argument.
If somebody calls you a racist and you say, I don't accept what you're saying, I don't accept it.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that a good comeback?
Oh, I get called a racist all the time, but I always fight back with, I'm not a racist, I'm an ideologue. There's a huge difference. Yeah. It's how I see the world and government within that world. If I don't see the world as the government's going to supply me everything and do everything for me. I believe more in the fact that I'm going to pull myself up by my own bootstraps and I'm going to do and fend for myself. And that's how the left wins. Because if you have two candidates, let's say you have candidate A and candidate B, and they're in a debate, and let's say that the audience isn't really politically inclined to really know what's going on. Candidate A says, I want to help you. I want to give you everything. I want to give you free health care. I want to give you free, college tuition. I want to give you free cars and housing, and I want to take care of you. And then candidate B says, I want to remove every single obstacle in your life so that you can better yourself and make a life for yourself and your family. Now, to the uneducated ear that doesn't understand, they go, gee, well, one guy wants to give me everything and the other guy said something about taking something away. You know what? I think I'll go with the guy that wants to give me everything. And that's the language of the left, and that's how the left uses that language to suck people in and then hold them down underneath their thumb.
Yeah.
So, Josh, what's the most recent thing? Biden had signed something with regard to food stamps. Do you know this?
I haven't
over
heard
here.
Was
all
it
right.
today?
So apparently he has increased the amount of food stamps to make.
He said something about a mask mandate until 2022. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
That was pretty ridiculous for travel.
And what's amazing is he said that while things are going on in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. No, he talked about expanding the food stamp program to the biggest it's ever been for the longest period of time in a permanent way. And I think that's devastating for people who are trying to, it's almost like he's stealing something from us, because there's a feeling of accomplishment when you work hard and you get paid for it and you said, I can do this and I'm going to do it.
Working Americans are the antithesis of what this administration wants. They don't want that.
Right.
They want people dependent. This is the Cloward and Piven strategy. If you've ever heard that, Cloward and Piven were two sociology professors at NYU, I believe in the 60s. And they came out with a strategy that said, if we can get enough people on the public dole on welfare, we can then collapse the financial system and replace it with socialism. That's exactly what they want. Yeah. They don't want people working. That's why they're continuing these handouts. That's why they're continuing these moratoriums. That's why they want people on welfare, because they don't want competition. They want you to be dependent on them so that you'll continue to vote for them. Well, but most people are smart enough to realize
tell you what. We've all kind of exhausted our voices here, and I think we have a video, if I'm not mistaken.
We do. Let's set this up. So Biden just in July was talking about in a press conference how this would never turn into another Saigon. We would never have helicopters rescuing Americans on top of buildings. That's never going to happen. Really? Well, we just saw it happen. And go ahead and roll the clip here.
Here's Biden saying that.
Mr. President, thank you very much. Your own intelligence community has assessed that the Afghan government will likely collapse.
That is not true.
Can you please clarify what they have told you about whether that will happen or not?
That is not true. They did not reach that conclusion.
So what is the level of confidence that they have that it will not collapse?
The Afghan government and leadership has to come together. They clearly have the capacity to sustain the government in place. The question is, will they generate the kind of cohesion to do it? It's not a question of whether they have the capacity. They have the capacity. They have the forces. They have the equipment. The question is, will they do it?
How serious was the corruption among the Afghanistan government to this mission failing there?
Well, first of all, the mission hasn't failed yet. There is, in Afghanistan, in all parties, there's been corruption. The question is, can there be an agreement on unity of purpose? What is the objective? For example, it started off there were going to be negotiations between the Taliban and the Afghan National Security Forces and the Afghan government. That didn't come to fruition. So the question now is, where do they go from here? That the jury is still out, but the likelihood there's going to be the Taliban overrunning everything and owning the whole country is highly unlikely.
I don't think it's going.
Unbelievable. I mean, I never thought that anybody could make Jimmy Carter look like Ronald Reagan, but this buffoon, this sack of I don't know what you want to call him, is just unbelievable. I swear I hear the doot 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 the clown music every single time this guy opens his mouth.
Walt and I noticed it when he was saying this mission hasn't failed.
Yet.
Yeah.
And
what does it mean? Is it planned?
Give it time.
To fail?
Is it planned? And that's a commander in chief. And if we peel the onion back and we get a little bit into this, this is the deal. This is a guy who is more dangerous to the safety of our country than the Taliban right now.
Oh, without a doubt.
He is incompetent. He is absent from leadership. He is not in command. He has dereliction of duty by doing this, and no commander in their right mind would do this. This guy is not fit to be president. Because you're trying to tell me that we have all this senior leadership, all these generals and colonels and planners that didn't plan on how to leave Afghanistan. I know they did because I was part of those plans. I was part of those meetings when they talked about we are going to do a progressive, a slow type of withdrawal when they're withdrawing troops. This was never the plan. This guy made a decision when he woke up and says, "Oh, let's just get out of Afghanistan."
Or it was Blinken. Who knows?
Or it was Blinken.
Well,
my problem is that even though the Secretary of Defense works for the president at the pleasure of the president, the Secretary of Defense was a commanding general, and he should have had the backbone to say this will not work.
Right.
So it seems
instead of
more-
being the lapdog that you are, Lloyd.
Yeah, it seems like, is it possible, and this is just hypothetical, is it possible that this is the result that they did want because this would destabilize it in such a way that we would have to take more refugees from this area? I mean, we know what former President Obama did. I mean, we know about all that. Mm-hmm. This now puts into power, I mean, releasing, giving 5 for 1. We know that happened.
Well, look, I mean,
could it be
Democrats
possible?
have completely obliterated the white working class. Okay, there's not a white working class person in the Midwest that would ever vote for a Democrat again, which is why President Trump won so big in 16 and of course in 20. And so they have to replace their base. And with African Americans, many of them are starting to wake up and get off the Democratic Party's plantation and get out of the economic chains of slavery. And they're only 13% of the population. So,
and that's not a racist statement.
No, it's not. And so what's the next step? The Hispanics, right? That's a bigger population. What is it, 28, 29, 30% of the population?
Trump did well with Hispanics, too.
He did. But what we're saying here is that they're having to use the minority sectors of America, if you will, in order to grow their base because they have lost white working class.
And that's why they're bringing so many people
exactly.
in.
And so what they're doing is at the expense of Americans, they're bringing in other people that they know are going to dance with the party who brought them there.
So they would rather stay in office and put Americans in danger. This is a clear and present danger to our country.
Absolutely, it is.
And Representative Blackman, if you look, and you being a military man, 1 million people on your southern border. What if they were all armed and they had uniforms?
Well, I've been down there, and some of them are coming across armed.
Oh yeah, they are.
An army of 1 million people entering the United States, and we're doing nothing about it as a government.
There's a word for it. It's called invasion.
Yeah,
it is an invasion.
Yeah.
Well, I hear the music, and I see by the clock that it's about time that we said good night to you. And we'd like to thank Representative Walt Blackman.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks
and
for having
tell
us.
us the
Nice to meet
website
you.
one more time.
www.blackmanforcongress.com.
And drop some money in the till. Josh, thank you for being here as
Josh
always.
Bernstein, uncensored.com.
Uncensored.
If it's banned on social
And it's,
media,
it's
you'll
Ray
find it
Michaels, Uncensored.
I'm always censored.
And
And
Ron
thank-
Ludders, and we will see you tomorrow night. Guess who's on? We got Jay Lawrence on, so
Yes.
be sure to watch Jay Lawrence show tomorrow night.